Hey Laura,
Yeah,
where are we going?
we're going to two estate sales today, Janine. The listings look pretty exciting, but they already started, so we gotta get going. I did see some things in it that looked like fun, like some vintage toys, maybe a little bit of Christmas, but I'm not too sure. So let's head out and get going to these two estate sales. We'll bring you guys along. We're looking for anything vintage, vintage toys, vintage Christmas, vintage Halloween. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button, but let's go. Okay guys, we are heading into our first estate sale of the day. This was a few hours after it had already begun, and what drew us into the sale was that there was a bunch of Care Bears listed in the listing, which looked pretty cool. But of course we headed into the basement first. It's typically where we head to find any vintage holiday stuff, so there was a lot of Christmas, but it was newer lights. We did come across some noisemakers, and I did see a little Care Bear tin bucket right here, which was really cute, but it was newer. I was hoping that some of these noisemaker would be Halloween, but there was no Halloween down here. Just some fun crafting stuff. And these little decals on the table were definitely vintage. And here was the Care Bears room. As you can see, it was covered in Care Bears. A lot of these plush were newer, but what was really cool was that a lot of these paper goods and notebooks were a bit older. So they had new old stock paper and really fun activity sets. A little bit of Smokey the Bear there. But this was really cool. I was a little weary that like the prices were gonna be like really high because a lot of it was left, and the sale had already been like 3 hours in or so. And this wasn't really something I was planning on flipping or buying to resell, and it's something that we collect, so I loved it. Just fun to see, but I absolutely fell in love with this puppies like box. So cute. I was hoping that there was going to be puppies inside, but it more so looked like just doll clothes. The container itself, though, was so cute. We then decided to take a look at the plush. There was two different sections of Care Bear plush. Just by looking at these, I could tell they were newer, but I thought these were vintage at first. But after looking at the tag, Janine said that they were actually from like the early 2000s. I guess they were just really loved, which made them look more worn, which made me believe that they were vintage. So definitely always check those tags. Make sure you're not getting a repro if you are after the real vintage deal. This room had a lot of fun different albums, which was fun to look at. But we didn't really end up picking up anything. This second sale, we had to wait still to get in. But once we got in, I was so surprised to find this vintage Easter planter. It was really crowded in here, really hard to film, but you guys are going to want to wait to the hall to see because we did end up getting some really fun things out of this sale. And I don't know if you just spotted something that I completely missed, but Janine did manage to pick up. I walked over to this wall and saw this Santa planter. I was so excited. It was still there. It was the one thing in the listing for the estate sale that I saw and knew that I really wanted. A lot of, I think, what drew people into the sale was that there was a whole room dedicated to vintage toys, which we will take a look at in a moment. I'm just glancing over the Christmas here, and basically everything is newer from like the 80s through to, today. But I'm just taking a glance, just making sure that I'm not leaving anything behind. Janine did spot this little knee hugger, which we think was either handmade, um, in the 60s or 70s, or it is a reproduction. The clothes definitely give it away. My sister Emily found this official spring chicken hat, which I absolutely loved and was very tempted to get, but I ended up leaving it behind. Maybe I should have picked it up. I definitely would have worn it. There's a whole rooster collection. I really enjoy chickens, but not so much roosters as far as decorative usage goes. But Janine and I came across this fun crafting room, supply room, and Janine pulled out this jack-o'-lantern that I had missed. So happy she saw that. You know what she's thinking? No pumpkin left behind, and we're certainly not leaving that one behind. But yeah, this room had a lot of fun crafting things, like a glue gun. There was some like stamping stuff. I opened this book hoping that it was a scrapbook, but it wasn't. It was more like a log or a counting book. There was a whole set of putts which were priced high, and this Rushton was $100, so I didn't end up getting him. Instead, I went back to the crafting room and grabbed some embossing things, which, are expensive in themselves. Like each of those little containers can cost like $10 at Michael's or Joann's, so always looking out for things that we can use like for our personal use that are going to be cheaper at an estate sale than they would be at retail. I started looking through this box at some of the stamps that could go with some of the embossing powder that I picked up. There were some really fun ones, and stamps can actually resell if you take a look on eBay. If you like can get a big lot like this, you can definitely make a decent return. It's all about what you get your cost of goods for. So if you were able to pick up this whole box for like a few bucks, you could definitely make back your money and then some by selling it on eBay. But I'm just looking at different stamps for my own use. I thought it was really fun. There was a bunch of different ones, you know, from vegetables and different decorative elements. It was really fun to look through. I was so excited to see this popcorn Santa. It was in the listing. It's the biggest one I've ever seen. It was already spoken for, but it was so cool to see. How much would you guys spend on this popcorn? I should have asked how much it went for. I don't know, but I'm curious in the comments. Let me know what you think you would pay for it. It's definitely a one-of-a-kind piece. This table had some more knickknacks and just some more like bowls and china. There was some Christmas sprinkled in, so I'm just taking a second look to make sure I'm not missing anything. But there's little Santa there. I didn't end up picking him up. But I did notice then that there was this whole bin of ornaments underneath that table. Just by quickly looking through it, I noticed that it was 80s and 90s ornaments, which aren't really collectible and don't, you know, aren't something we collect. But then I did notice in the bin next to it that there were a bunch of inflatable reindeer. Now, if you're not familiar, inflatable Christmas reindeer and snowmen and Santas can be quite collectible. They started producing these in the mid to late 60s all the way through to the 80s. And I got really excited to see that Santa face. He's real cute. So I went through this and I did pick up a few. I wasn't too sure how old they were. You guys are going to have to stick around to the haul to see just how cute these are and how many I did pick up. There was a whole sewing room in this house, which was really cool. I fell in love with this Diet Coke fabric because I'm a big Diet Coke fan. But I wasn't sure what I would do with an entire like 10 yards of it. And then we finally made our way into the toy room, which had its own sign up list. We had to wait like an extra 10 minutes to get inside of here. So the anticipation was building. And I was really surprised to come across these, what I thought were jumbo Christmas cards. But they're actually not. You guys want to stick around to the end of the video, see the haul, and see what they actually are. It's quite interesting. But yeah, in this room there were a lot of vintage dolls. There's also a whole section of like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but it was very crowded. I didn't get a close-up look, but a lot of things in here were a bit pricey from what I could tell. Especially considering that there was a bunch of the boys' toys, like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff, still left over. But we took a look. Anyway, you know, you never know. But what was really cool was this. This homeowner was a head merchandiser at the Sears local to the home, and he had a bunch of new old stock Sears Christmas displays. Now, these were really cool, but they were pricey. The little guys that you saw were $50 each, and the big ones were $150. So definitely something for a collector. You know, somebody who really wants that authentic piece that's maybe local to the area. Not for me, when I could, like, you know, scan in the graphic, trace it over, and, you know, print it out for my own personal use, but it was definitely very cool to see. Alright guys, we are back from that estate sale, and like we said in the beginning, we had to wait a little bit to get in, so I was a little nervous if there was going to be anything left for us, but luckily we came away with a pretty fantastic haul, considering we showed up, what, Janine, maybe like 2 or 3 hours after it had started. So let's dive in and show you guys what we got. I was so surprised, Janine, to walk away with 2 ceramics from that sale. This one I did see in the listing. This is a classic Santa planter. He is from the mid-century, even though he doesn't have any stickers on the bottom. I found him before and he did have a Japan sticker on him. He's really cute. I love his blue little mittens. So this was a fantastic find, and I could not believe that this Easter one was there. Yeah. So this is a fantastic Easter planter. It is a Napco planter. When you see that silver Napco sticker, it's a pretty good indicator that this is a mid-century piece, probably from the mid-1950s to mid-1960s. This guy used to have a little paintbrush in his hand, which has since gone missing, but otherwise he's in really great condition. He does have a little opening in the back, and this is definitely a more desirable Easter planter. It's really cute. I actually have one, so I'm gonna pass this one along probably, but I was so surprised to see this. I didn't see in the listing, and this is probably like a $30 to $50 planter, so that is fantastic.
It's really cute.
And if we didn't mention it, we paid $60 for everything, which I think is a fantastic score, because in that toy room that we went into, I found these amazing new old stock giant gift tags, which is
probably the biggest gift tag I've ever seen.
And I've never seen anything like these before. We paid like $30 for these, and I think that comes out to about $2 a piece because I have like 15 here. They are so cool, guys. At first I thought they were like the jumbo like cards, but they actually have a marking on the bottom and it says giant gift tags from 1966, and it does have the to and from on it. So it's definitely just like a giant gift tag. And what was really interesting about this sale, we learned from the estate sale company, is that the homeowner was the head of merchandising at a local Sears at a mall just around the corner from the home. So these were all like new old stock merchandise that I guess he had kept over the years from Sears. There's also this really cute Santa one. These two were a bit beat up, but still really cute. Had to grab him. And because we got such a fantastic price on these and there are so many, we're definitely going to sell some of these, a good amount of them, during a future Whatnot sale. If you're not following us on Whatnot, it's a really fun platform where we sell a lot of the Christmas and Halloween stuff that we come along that we are not going to add to the collection. So check out the link below to find out about our next upcoming sales. I believe Janine has a spooky vintage children's book sale this Thursday, so that's really fun. And not to get sidetracked, but each order during Janine's spooky book sale will come with this really fun bookmark that we made. We thought it'd be really fun to include something like this, so definitely check out our Whatnot. You can see all our upcoming sales, and like I said, we'll definitely have some of these giant new old stock gift tags available.
They're so cool.
I mean, how often do you come across something like this? Not every day. In fact, I've never come across like these giant gift tags, so really fun pickup. And this is a really interesting pickup. I picked up these inflatable Santa, reindeer, and snowman pieces. If you are a vintage Christmas collector, you may recognize these. Inflatables were pretty popular in the 70s, all through the 80s. These three are made in China, so I believe they are from the 80s, but they're pretty collectible. I especially love Santa and his little face. He has his little sack of toys back there. I do have a few Santas, but I've never come across a reindeer and a snowman. These are pretty collectible too if you look on eBay. These might not be as sought after since I believe they're a little bit newer, since their little plugs right here say made in China for the most part. But a really fun trio, don't you think, Janine?
Yeah, I love the snowman's big red nose.
So
it's
cute.
like Rudolph.
These I don't know if we're going to keep or pass along, but definitely check out and follow our Whatnot for any upcoming sales. We can always count on Janine to find a pumpkin.
Yeah, I found this really fun planter, which is of course a cute jack-o'-lantern with this fun ghost on the side. And I found a very cute little pumpkin. This little top comes off. I think it was like a candy container, right? Back in the day. This is really fun. This is actually one of my favorite little pumpkins that we have a couple in the collection. So, I don't know. It's gonna be hard to... I'm gonna have to keep it. I'm not sure.
He's a little bit older
so
too,
cute.
right?
Yeah, right? Like probably 80s.
Yep, early 80s, late 70s. You can usually tell by this little green top. You don't typically see this on a newer piece. And that face is definitely vintage for sure. I would say even 70s, Janine. Good find.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no markings on it. Sometimes they do have like, they'll have like the price on the bottom, you know, like written on it. This one doesn't. And inside of this planter, I just got some miscellaneous little goodies.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, the house that you saw, there was like a whole like fabric and like sewing room. So I picked up a tailoring tape that was like still new. I got myself some thread, and also they like stamping, so I got myself a fish stamp.
Yeah, we picked up some stamps. They had some embossing stuff that I picked up. Really fun sale.
I just realized I got this little dinosaur stamp as
Janine
well.
and her dinos. Very cute.
Yeah, it was really fun to see all of the sewing stuff, because I didn't look at the photos of the listing to see that stuff was going to be there. So that was a fun little surprise. This pumpkin has to be my favorite thing that I found.
I don't know what my favorite find was. I think it was just really fun to go to the sale not expecting anything and to come away with 2 ceramics and Mr. Frosty the Snowman here. And don't forget, Janine has her spooky vintage children's book sale this Thursday on Whatnot. Our link is below. If you sign up and you purchase anything, and it's your first purchase, you can purchase with us or anybody else, you'll get a $15 credit. So that's exciting.
And the bookmark, which is a fun little thing.
Don't forget. So yeah, we hope to see you guys there on Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us today.
See you next time. Bye.